Trump isn't worried about this war. He's worried about the Great Replacement. He's worried about white people becoming minorities. He says we need more people in the United States who are white. We don't want people of color. That's what the whole thing with ICE is about and the deportations. He's right now encouraging white Afrikaners to seek political asylum here in the United States because they're white. He's encouraging them to claim some phony, non-existent political persecution, that their farms are being taken from them in South Africa. They're not. But it's an opportunity for Trump to bring more white people into the United States. And yesterday he unveiled new plans to make white Christian America more fertile. I've been over this. We need the migrants. We have a population implosion. We're not replacing. More people are dying than being born in the United States. It's why Springfield, Ohio brought in all those Haitians. They need workers. I've been over this. And the Republicans know this. Farmers are complaining we don't have enough people. Well, you have to balance racism with economics. And Trump is trying to straddle this divide with fertility. Monday was Fertility Day, where Trump's fertility advisors all gathered in the Oval Office to explain all their new government initiatives to get more white Christian women pregnant. Here is Dr. Oz. He's in charge. He's in charge of Medicare and Medicaid under Bobby Kennedy. He's telling us what the White House is doing to increase fertility.
They're private companies who are now taking advantage of the whole group of individuals who can get access to fertility medications and the treatments that go with them. And as the services get better, we make them more affordable, we'll have more Trump babies.
Yeah, and we hope that
yes, more Trump babies. We're going to get more Trump babies. They're calling them Trump babies. Oh my God, here is more from Donald Trump and Dr. Oz explaining how we're going to get more Trump babies.
Okay, go ahead. So let me speak a little bit about the reality that 1 in 3 Americans are under-babied.
Under-babied. 1 in 3 Americans are under-babied. What does
under-babied mean?
Yes, what does under-babied mean? Like under-baby? Like Donald Trump's diaper? That's under a baby. What does under-babied mean, Dr. Oz?
That means that you either don't have any children or you have less children than you would normally want to have.
Right. Most people are deciding not to have babies because this planet's going to be uninhabitable, and we have plenty of people at the border. They're just not white. Go on.
We have a crisis that's causing our fertility rate to drop below 1.5. The replacement rate is 2.1. So we're way below what we need just to replace the people that we have in America.
Well, he's playing fast and loose with the statistics. He's talking about the replacement rate for white Europeans. That's what they're worried about. So this is the great replacement theory writ large. You are seeing now an effort to battle the great replacement, which is this is an actual theory that Tucker Carlson and the Republicans subscribe to, that the Jews in America and Europe are encouraging more Muslims, more people of color to flood the borders to destroy the white race. Here is Dr. Bobby Kennedy. Is he a doctor? Sounds like a doctor. Here's Dr. Bobby Kennedy. Watch Trump's face when Bobby starts talking about sperm counts.
For men in 1970, men had twice the sperm count as our teenagers do today.
Men have twice the sperm count as our teenagers do today. Watch Trump listening to Bobby Kennedy.
For men in 1970, men had twice the sperm count as our teenagers do today.
Based on what? Laptops? The keyboards on laptops, you count. Who's counting the sperm? Well, Trump is looking at him going, oh boy. All right, that's Bobby. Trump has his own solutions, not just fertility. Here is John Roberts of Fox News, fresh off the phone with Donald Trump.
I was talking to the president this morning. It was just before the Oval Office event. He kind of surprised me a little bit because he said, John, I just want to tell you, I'm very serious about this. So you can talk about this. I'm serious about beginning a process to make Venezuela the 51st state.
Does he know that Venezuela is Spanish speaking? That the people from Venezuela aren't the people you want in our country? Canada, which used to be a white country, that he thinks Canada is still a white country. All right. Here is Kevin Hastert. He's Trump's National Economic Council director. And here he is yesterday bragging about the new job numbers, which came in. And he says these job numbers are so much better than Joe Biden's. Well, they're not. They don't compare to Joe Biden. But here's what Kevin Hastert explained.
We did an analysis when we first got into the White House that showed that almost all of the job creation that happened under President Biden was the employment of illegal aliens.
They're all illegal aliens. And here's Tom Homan explaining why we can't allow immigrant babies into the country.
Homicide, sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, homicide, sexual assault, homicide, rape, sexual assault, kidnapping, sexual assault, rape, homicide.
I don't know what he's talking about. I would assume somebody sent that to me. He was on Fox News yesterday. And so I don't know. I would assume
Homicide, sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, homicide, homicide, sexual assault, homicide, rape, sexual assault, kidnapping, sexual assault, rape, homicide.
That is probably Stephen Miller's Pornhub search record. That's probably all his fetishes. This is Ralph Norman, congressman from South Carolina, true patriot. In 2021, after January 6, Ralph Norman sent a text to then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Trump's White House Chief of Staff, after January 6, just a couple of days before Biden's inauguration. This is what Ralph Norman wrote to Mark Meadows, White House Chief of Staff. Mark, in saying what's happening so quickly and reading about the Dominion lawsuits attempting to stop any meaningful investigation, we are at a point of no return in saving our republic. Our last hope is invoking martial law. Please urge to President to do so. And Ralph Norman was asked, do you have any regrets about sending this? He said, well, I misspelled martial law. Invoke martial law. Here he is on Newsmax yesterday. As you know, South Carolina, he's a white congressman from South Carolina. They want to get rid of Jim Clyburn's congressional seat. They want to get rid of the one Democratic congressional seat that's occupied by Jim Clyburn, who I think is 85. I know he's black. Here's Ralph Norman explaining why Henry McMaster, the governor of South Carolina, should extend the legislative session to redraw the maps and get rid of Jim Clyburn's congressional district?
Jim Clyburn, I like him personally, but he does not represent the rest of South Carolina, which is conservative. His district is close to 47% African American, and then 41%, and with 6% makeup of Hispanics.
He does not represent the rest of South Carolina, which is conservative. And then he cites the stats showing how black and Hispanic that district is. Well, here's the thing about South Carolina and Jim Clyburn. One of the things douchebags like me learned in 2020 is there are a lot of black conservatives. Jim Clyburn is personally responsible for Joe Biden winning the Democratic nomination. It was the South Carolina firewall. Bernie looked like he was going to take the nomination, and it was Jim Clyburn and the conservative blacks in South Carolina who turned it around for Joe Biden. So black people are way more conservative than Ralph Norman wants to admit. They didn't vote for Bernie, in South Carolina at least. They went with Biden, who was running a conservative campaign at the time. When he got elected, Biden moved to the left. But he was, in terms of Democrats, one of the more conservative candidates. And Jim Clyburn is, for a Democrat, conservative.